Hello, everyone. My name is Paige Regan, and I am a Communities Coordinator here at ASUG. I'd like to welcome you to the ASUG webcast, Innovate through IoT and Achieve Quick ROI with SAP Networked Logistics Hub. Thank you for your participation today. A few notes from ASUG headquarters here in Chicago. Please look for your personalized webcast listings each Monday and visit asug.com/events for more webcasts. Today's webcast is being recorded and the slides will be posted to the ASUG website as well as emailed to all registrants. Please feel free to type any questions into the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen throughout the duration of the webcast. Questions and answers will be responded to at the end of the presentation. The Internet of Things community is excited to announce that ASUG recently completed an 8-episode webcast series featuring IoT experts from SAP, SAP partners, and BSAG. Although the series has ended, the recordings are all available for your review on asug.com. The links to these recordings will be included in the follow-up email after today's webcast. August 31st through September 2nd, ASUG will be hosting the SAP Analytics and Business Objects Conference. Learn more at sabak.asug.com. The first practical analytics workshop will be taking place simultaneously. Join us for a 3-day hands-on analytics training course for business users. Once again, ASUG and SAP are joining together to be partners in education. Make sure to attend an ASUG pre-conference session at TechEd on Monday, October 19th in Las Vegas. At this time, I'd like to turn it over to Doug McMurray, the chair of the Telecommunications Community, who will introduce our speaker for today. Doug?
Thank you, Paige, and thank you everyone for attending. We're very excited today to have Petra Diesner speaking to us. Petra is a solution owner for track and trace in the line of business solution management at SAP in Waldorf, Germany. In this capacity, she is responsible for the success of SAP's track and trace solution portfolio in the market, both on-premise and in the cloud. Prior to that, she worked in the manufacturing area for some years, both before and after joining SAP in 1998. She holds a degree in computer science from the University of Applied Science in Karlsruhe. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to Petra and look forward to a very interesting presentation. So over to you, Petra, and we'll take questions at the end of your presentation.
Thanks, Doug, and welcome also from my side. What I'd like to do in the following, I would say, 45 minutes is talk about a rather new offering that we have in the space of the Internet of Things and logistics, which is called SAP Networked Logistics Hub. I will talk a bit about how it came to that. So this was actually a co-innovation project done with a customer and together with a partner from the telecom industries. And then explain a bit around the business pain points that led our customer, Hamburg Port Authority, to introducing such a solution. Talk about the solution specifics, so what are the capabilities of this SAP Networked Logistics Hub? And then, of course, also shed some more light into how we collaborate with our partner T-Systems in that. So let us start with having a look into actually 4 years back. So here you can see some details and facts on the Hamburg Port Authority. Hamburg Port Authority is actually the provider of the Hamburg Port. So in the meantime, it's the second largest port in Europe. At the time when we extracted those facts, which was at the beginning of the discussions, they had been the third largest. And as you can imagine, a lot of goods are turned over in the Hamburg port. So, and when also looking into the complete ecosystem of the Port Authority, that's actually huge. Hamburg Port not only deals with the vessels and the truck-related traffic, but there is also rail transportation relating to that. And for those of you who have already been to Hamburg, you will probably remember that the port is actually in the middle of the city, which means that, the space of this port is really limited. So when they, at that time, thought about their future plans and actually also expansion plans, they soon found out that they can't really expand from a space perspective, but they really have to introduce innovative solutions to optimize the space usage in there. And that's actually what they started with. So they set up a co-innovation project with us. For being able to cater the business pain points that all the parties that are involved in this hub transportation processes and hub traffic face. So the challenges had been really manifold. For the port itself, they realized that they have a huge traffic problem. So in the meantime, there are 40,000 trucks moving in and out of the port each day. And these all the parties that are involved in such a port, they are not necessarily really connected. So the Hamburg Port Authority is actually the infrastructure provider. And then you have these terminals, then you have logistics service providers who send their drivers into the port. And you do have, in addition, maybe parking space providers who also kind of contribute to this infrastructure. And there had been before simply silos of information which Hamburg Port wanted to close. In the one aspect was actually that the truck drivers also realized, okay, if we go to the port, then we actually spend the majority of our time not driving but waiting. So it's 70% waiting time in the port, and then you can imagine that if 40,000 trucks are waiting more or less most of their time in the port, then there are really challenges as to the space in the port. Also, with respect to the logistics service providers, for really being able to properly plan transportation, it's really essential to get real-time information on how the traffic looks like, for example. Are there traffic jams? Is perhaps a bridge closed because a huge vessel is coming? Or what about the parking spaces if I need to send someone to sit and wait for the slot at the terminal? And this was all missing. So therefore, Hamburg Port, together with SAP and T-Systems, did this co-innovation project, which resulted in a solution that provides a consolidation of mostly unstructured data from all the different parties involved in this, let us say, hub, to provide them a situational picture of the port traffic and support more effective cargo handling. So that means, in essence, for the port, as a result, they can deal with more goods for more customers, which is obviously positive. They also, with this approach, allow the drivers to be more effective because they save driving time per tour. And when you look at these 40,000 truck drivers per day, this really sums up to a huge amount of time gained. And of course, for the port, it was very important. They had the ambitious goal to be able to expand their cargo, to double their cargo handling capabilities in the next years. And such an innovative approach will allow to do them so. And lastly, of course, also very subjective, but the truck drivers will also be happier if they don't sit and wait in traffic jams, but they have the information that they need to get to their destination in the best possible way. So now we actually launched this SAP Networked Solution Hub solution as a public cloud offering in late November, and then it was followed by a pilot phase for Hamburg Port, and in February this year they went live with this solution. And here I brought some customer quotes also with me. So one is Sascha Westermann, who was a very important person in the overall project. And what he pointed out was really this strong collaboration with the partners involved in this co-innovation, and really the power of innovation that brings to them. The quote from the CIO of Hamburg Port Authority, Dr. Sachse, also shows that this is not the end of the journey for Hamburg Port, but they want to expand from there. So currently they only look into the truck transportation, but they want to expand that to then also include, for example, rail and other modes into the consideration. Okay, and when you look at the overall situation and how this develops, I mean, the issue with having these traffic gridlocks all over the developed world, actually, or developing world also, is really huge and is increasing. And therefore, we also see that this topic has not only relevance now for a port like the Hamburg Port, but also for manufacturing companies, for logistics service providers, for postal companies, whatever you can think of. So catering, dealing with these challenges, with the traffic, intelligently dealing with that by introducing innovative solutions is actually the only way to go forward. And when you look into the projections that analysts also provide as to how many connected devices you will have worldwide in 2020, for example, this is a more conservative number, that's 50 billion. You also realize, okay, there is potential. Currently, only less than 1% of the IoT data is really actually used and really put into the business context to derive business impact on and insights out of that. So there is actually a huge potential. And a very interesting study has also revealed that almost a quarter of the possible value for through IoT is in logistics and supply chain, which to me was really an eye-opener. I mean, there are so many new ideas relating to IoT, but a quarter of that is really simply related to logistics and applying these capabilities in the logistics space, bringing these insights into the business context provides a huge opportunity for everyone involved in logistics. So now let's have a closer look at the SAP Networked Logistics Hub. As I already said, that's a cloud solution which is based on the SAP HANA Cloud Platform. That means it is run by SAP. And when someone like a port or also a manufacturing company wants to onboard, they simply get an invitation email and then they can start from there. They can then onboard all their business partners, be it direct or indirect business partner, onto the system, and then telematics data can be integrated. This data is then merged with public traffic information and also hub sensor data, if that's available, brought into one system and is then available for everyone involved for this greater transparency. And here I just provided some exemplary stakeholders. So in the case of the port, you would have the hub operator, so the port operator in this sense. Then you do have terminal operators. You do have, of course, the logistics service providers who plan their transportation and send then in the end the truck drivers into the hub. And in addition, you can also involve parking space providers because they also provide a beneficial service to the hub, so the expanded hub. And the basic idea is really to not optimize only the silos, because that actually already happens today. So logistics service providers have their sophisticated transportation management systems in place. The hub operator also has something with limited visibility. The idea here is really to get everyone on board in a network to share insights on what is going on with respect to hub-related traffic. So the geolocations of the various transportation units are captured and visualized on a map. And then the people can also interact with each other. So they can communicate with the help of text messages, either based on geofences that, for example, the hub operator defines to kind of control also the information flow towards the truck drivers, or simply manually by just clicking one and sending specific information to that one. Now let's have a closer look what capabilities each of these parties are provided from within SAP Networked Logistics Hub. So on the bottom you again see the data that flows into the overall solution. That's on the one hand side telematics data, which in the case of Hamburg Port we achieve with the help of the T-Systems connected car telematics offering. Then just general traffic control information, hub sensor information that is managed within the hub sensor framework and then also pushed into the overall solution. And then, of course, you can also integrate into backend systems where it makes sense. So, for example, for the logistics service provider to extract tour information, to make that available in the SAP Networked Logistics Hub solution, so that the system then can also check whether something is in time, whether a transportation, a tour is delayed, because that also has an impact on the operations. So the hub operator actually owns the hub within Networked Logistics Hub, and is then also responsible for onboarding all the different parties onto the system. He's able to see the traffic in an anonymized way, actually, because it's not his fleet which is moving around, and can inform the different truck drivers that are moving in this hub, or towards this hub, or away from the hub, with the help of messages based on geofences or direct messages. The logistics service provider is actually the one who owns the fleet, but also subcontracts transportation orders to other carriers. So as soon as a logistics service provider is onboarded, he can also invite his subcontractees to be visible on the solution. And then the logistics service provider really sees the different trucks related to his fleet, and is able to monitor how the progress is. For example, is the expected time of arrival, can that be met? If not, he needs to do something. And he can also dispatch tours towards his truck drivers. And of course, the truck driver is a very important stakeholder in this whole concept, because he receives information from his dispatcher or from the hub operator, and then can really act upon that. So if a bridge is closed, for example, then he can simply take another route. If there is a traffic jam somewhere before him, he can decide to move towards a parking space. And the parking space provider is then also one stakeholder in the overall scenario, because they can make visible whether they whether they still have capacity, so whether truck drivers can come to them, or and also drive their business with that by better controlling the flow, the overall flow. So that's more or less a recap. What kind of data is managed within SAP Networked Logistics Hub? You, on the one hand side, have the telemetry data coming from the trucks, which is related to the geolocation of these trucks, and also specific events that are managed within the onboard unit, or that can be also transferred with the help of a mobile device. Then you have more business-related data. These are the geofences, the partner relationships between the different stakeholders, the tours and their related freight, and the expected time of arrival, which of course can change over time based on the current traffic situations. And of course, then you do have the messages, which relate to the incidents and notifications of the different parties. And lastly, third-party data like traffic situation, weather, and hub sensor-related information. And SAP Networked Logistics Hub then allows to really turn this data, this different sorts of data, really into insights and provide these insights to the different parties. So now let's have a closer look at the different roles which are supported within this solution. On the one hand side, we do have the logistics hub operator. And as I said, he would manage the overall network. He would be able to see the traffic in an anonymized way and then be able to define geofencing for automatic or also manual notifications of specific incidents or other information. Then we do have the dispatcher that would actually manage the tours which are planned within a transportation management system, which could, for example, be an SAP transportation management. And he would then see this information within the system and then could monitor the timely execution of that. And to make that a bit more tangible, I would actually like to show you a quick live demo of the system. So I'm now a dispatcher at a logistics service provider, and here you can see the various activities that I would have within Networked Logistics Hub. On the one hand side, I would see the traffic status. On the other hand side, I would be able to manage the tours and the trucks, also maintain business partners if I do have also subcontractors, and of course maintain users within the system. Now let us have a closer look into the traffic monitor. And here you actually see the Hamburg harbor area, or Hamburg. Let me zoom in a bit. That was too much. I think there is also a bit of a latency. Let me wait until this is brought up. So, and what you can see here now is the map of the city area and various trucks that are moving there. So in this case, we actually don't have a tour assigned, but if a tour would have been assigned, you would also see whether that's in time, then it would be green, or whether that's delayed, then it would be red. So you would then instantly see, okay, something is going wrong and I might need to act upon that. What you can also, let us first look at the right-hand side. Here you can see the various messages that are available in the system. These are, on the one hand side, hub messages, so sensor messages from within the hub. Then also public traffic messages. Then also communication with my drivers. Events that have been raised for the tours, and also my information exchange with business partners. And lastly, that would be also an option to post a message directly from here. So here we currently only do see the general traffic information. Next, let us have a closer look at the traffic monitor. Currently we see the trucks which are active in this area, but let us now also have different other categories visualized in the system. So I'm now choosing parking spaces, container terminals, and geofences. And now you see the icons. For example, the parking space that I've selected here is currently full. So there is not really, that's not really an option to send my truck driver there. What else? What about this terminal? Oh, that's not served right now because it's a bit later here in Germany. So they have also they have already gone home. And these areas that are highlighted here are the geofences that have been defined in the system, which then allow either, as I said, automatic or manual notifications of all the truck drivers entering or also exiting this geofence. All right, and with that, I would like to go back to the presentation. And it seems like we have to wait until the presentation comes up again. Exactly. That was a quick sneak preview of the dispatcher user interface. And lastly, not to forget, we do also have the truck driver. And this truck driver is currently served with the help of a mobile app that's delivered by T-Systems. That allows him to receive the data from Networked Logistics Hub, to also see the order information, to manually report specific events, and also, of course, see the traffic status that we've just seen in the desktop version. So this rounds up the picture, and before going ahead, I would actually describe a bit more of the architectural setup. So what I just explained was essentially the SAP Networked Logistics Hub solution, which is HANA Cloud Platform based and run by SAP in the SAP Cloud. Then for receiving the telematics data and for also connecting with the mobile devices in the truck, we leverage the T-Systems Connected Car offering. What they do is, besides the mobile app, they kind of do a harmonization of all the different onboard unit vendors into one format and provide that into our solution. And in the case of Hamburg Port, they also took care of integrating the transportation management system of the LSPs, which are often really small solutions, so which are often not SAP transportation management, but third-party systems, into that via their integration infrastructure. So tours can be replicated from such a transportation management system, but you can also maintain these directly in the SAP Networked Logistics Hub. And as soon as this information is available, the system can then survey the execution progress of this tour. So whether someone is delayed or will meet the planned ETA. And something which is also then relevant more for the manufacturing companies or logistics service providers is the event notification that can also then be mirrored into the back-end system of the shipper, so that the shipper gets information whether when he has a transportation order towards a customer, whether this reaches the customer in time, and make that, for example, available into an SAP event management solution or another tracking solution that he has in his business backend, to really contextualize this information and achieve the utmost possible business benefits out of that. So we've already talked about the various parties that are involved in such hub-related traffic. And there are, of course, also specific business benefits for these parties. So the hub operator, he really achieves real-time transparency of his infrastructure usage. And that's actually something which was not possible before. He can also get in touch with all the people that are moving within his hub with the help of messages. And that's actually only possible if you have such a network, because otherwise the hub operator would simply not get a hold of these people, right? So the business benefits for the hub operator then are, of course, the optimized infrastructure utilization, which is a very relevant topic for Hamburg Port. And by that, they can, of course, also increase their turnover and achieve a better position when compared to their competition. You know, in the port space, you always have these, who's best, who's second next, when you look into what is going on in Europe, for example. Now let's come to the logistics service provider. With the help of this offering, the dispatcher is then able to communicate with his truck drivers, and that's actually a more formalized communication than via radio, for example. A lot of people are really still working paper-based, and communication is sometimes really hard. Proper communication or error-free communication is sometimes hard to achieve in this setup. And the logistics service provider, on the other hand side, can then again also invite his subcontractors to involve these also into the business network. I mean, the more people that are onboarded, the better for the overall transparency, right? And for as to the business benefit, this means for the logistics service provider that he can achieve higher throughput with less transportation efforts, and of course improved on-time delivery, which is also a very important topic. So customer service. Lastly, the carrier and truck drivers get up-to-date information on traffic and other hub-related data, and also recommendation. They also receive tour data via mobile app or via their onboard device from the dispatcher. And with this kind of information, they can be faster. They can reduce their idle times, and this in the end also increases the customer satisfaction. The overall business benefits should also not be neglected, because if you do have, if you sum that up, that what, for example, happened in Hamburg Port, that each of these 40,000 trucks per day have spent less time in the harbor. That also has an impact on the environment. Therefore, the Hamburg city was also pretty much behind this this idea. And for the hub operator, of course, the most relevant business benefit is the increased infrastructure utilization with this business network approach. So that actually concludes the solution-related overview. What I would like to iterate here again is that SAP Networked Logistics Hub is really an offering that you might not expect from a company like SAP. So it's really an innovative approach that brings together people that are involved in hub-related traffic on one solution. Without the need of heavy configuration or customizing in the business backend, but it's really very easy. As soon as the hub operator receives this invitation email, he can log on and simply maintain his business partners, onboard his business partners, and then let the logistics service providers onboard their truck drivers, and from there this can be set up and running in a very short period of time. And this kind of solution then, of course, also based on this platform that we provide big data analysis in a way that has not been possible before. So, Networked Logistics Hub is actually not the only offering that we have in the Internet of Things space for logistics, and that's why I also wanted to provide you the bigger picture. So all on-premise as well as cloud offerings that play into that are actually put together on this slide. So there you can see our warehouse management solution, our transportation management solution, which provides really agile transportation planning based on IoT information. Then, of course, our track and trace capabilities, complemented by this rather new Networked Logistics Hub, provides a comprehensive and holistic solution portfolio for the Internet of Things for logistics. And that's actually also, besides what I have explained in more detail, where we would also be, where it would be interesting for us to get in touch and find some more ideas on how to collaborate. Also, besides the standard solution, there is always also the opportunity to do co-innovation together with SAP based on the newly released SAP HANA Cloud Platform for the Internet of Things. And this all should also provide you kind of a trigger of thinking about scenarios to work with us as a partner or also as a customer. And that's actually where I would like to enter into a more interactive mode. between you and me, because that was pretty. I have talked for quite a while, and I would actually also be interested in your thoughts, ideas, impressions. So with that, Pete, maybe we can open up the lines for Q&A, or also discussion, whatever comes up.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. So we have a few questions here. The first is, you meant real-time transparency. Are you sure this is really real-time, no latency?
Yeah, of course, this always depends upon the way we get this kind of information. As soon as we've got them, and there we actually rely upon partners, because we don't do the device integration by ourselves. As soon as we got that, it's in the system and visible for everyone. So it's as closest as we can go to real time.
Wonderful, thank you. We have a second question. What technology is enabling the functionality? RFID?
So actually what we do with respect to the device integration, we simply provide a web service that can be called by our telematics integration partner. So either way, I mean, the sensors can be, if you think about these hub sensors and the data that comes in the system via this angle, then it might be RFID, it might be anything else. For the integration of the telematics data into SAP Networked Logistics Hub, maybe I can go back to the more architectural slide. There we leverage the capabilities of T-Systems, the connected car platform that integrates either with the onboard units on the truck or with the mobile device app that is then obviously transferred via a telco line. Does that answer the question?
Yep, that's great. We have another one here. They say, good presentation. I wanted to hear more detailed info, quantitative, about the benefits that you've listed.
You mean, question relating to the Hamburg Port customer example. Actually, they went live with the solution earlier this year, so we might still need to be a bit more patient when it comes to until they can really prove the business benefits that they gain out of that. With respect to other companies, we are having discussions with various customers globally, where they obviously see the potential that this has. But to be honest, that's also a quite new space. I mean, when you look into competitive landscape, there is actually not much there, right? And therefore, we have to see and also prove the tangible business results with the help of the productive customers that we onboard over time.
Great. Thank you so much for answering that. And then we have one last question here. And the audience is asking, what does 3G and 4G data mean? You meant data from 3G phone and 4G phone.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Wonderful. And we'll give the audience a few more minutes, see if they would like to ask any questions. Sir Petra would be happy to answer them. We just got another question in, and they are asking if any slides will be available. And yes, the slides will be available later this afternoon on the ASUG website, in addition to an email that will be sent out from the ASUG Communities team. All right, well, I believe that this concludes our webcast. On behalf of ASUG's Chicago office, I would like to thank Petra Diesma and the telecommunications community for hosting this wonderful webcast. And thank you, everyone, for your participation today. And as mentioned earlier, the slides and recording link will be emailed to you and as well will be accessible on asug.com. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you.